Very good evening, one and all present here. I'm really happy to see every one of you here. Thanks for coming here and being supporting for the initiative of my webinar series. And today I'm going to talk about one of the important topic. And many of us, we are having that different notions, different understanding about that grief. I'm going to make sure that my understanding, my learning, my research will help you to have a clarity about what is grief and what are the process that a person who will encounter in that grieving process, what are the misconceptions about grief, and what that will help the person who are grieving and what does not help the person to come out from the grief, and what are the treatment plan or therapeutic strategy we can adapt to overcome that grief. So these are the things I'm going to talk with you. I welcome each one of you for today's webinar session on behalf of the Department of Psychology, American College, and all the associating institutions. And my own behalf, I welcome each one of you for today's webinar session. Before I begin the session, I recently contacted some of my close friends and asked them, what are the components you are expected from my presentation? This is about mobile contact. And another thing is about, I just messaged in different groups, which I am associated, where I received inputs from the participants and they had many questions. And I'm not included some of the questions they asked in the group. So I would like to make a disclaimer here. For example, how to handle the children, those who are having the grieving experiences. So that I'm not going to make those components. I'm going to make it in other components. And I found that why it is not cannot be included today's session, because that session alone need for an hour to discuss. So that is the reason I'm not included only those components, and then remaining components I'm going to present with you. At the end, you will understand that you will come to know that what are the inputs you learn from presentations. Just give me a minute to share my presentation with all. And I'm happy to see that many of my old friends are here. Okay. So I would like to begin with the statistics. And during this first wave pandemic, I think we were not aware about that the number of death rates were happening around the globe. And when you come to know the news is only in the news channels and newspapers, and no one in your family members and near and dear may not be affected. So most of the people who had an experience, that's why we were not having any kind of brief experience in the first wave. But when it comes to the second wave of pandemic, COVID-19, at least one person in your first circle may be victim for that. And they are no more because of COVID-19, and that has a huge impact on our cognitive, emotional, social components. The first statistic is about 10 to 20% of people, those who are experiencing or suffering a loss that leads to, there are two types of griefs are there. One is a normal grief, another one is complicated grief. Nearly 10 to 20% of people are experiencing prolonged or complicated grief in their life when they lost something. And about 43% of people who lost someone to suicide have complicated grief reactions. Grief reactions mean that the behavioral, emotional, and social expressions of the particular persons. So these kind of symptoms are very common, and these are basic statistics about the grief, and we will go on to that basic term. We will understand what is grief. When we look at that, the different definitions, the different inputs and meaning given for the term grief, and these are the points, 5 points we have to keep in our mind. Grief is not an artificial one, it is a natural response to the loss. It's a natural response to the loss. It may be a death of loved one, it may be loss of job, it may be the traumatic experience, whatever it may be, a divorce. These loss can create grief. And second one is, most important thing what we can experience in grief is the emotional suffering. The person who are having the grief having high level of emotional suffering, and they may not have had such experiences previously. And The people with grieving, they experience almost all kind of difficulties. All kind of difficulties. Uh, um, uh, Before that, they had a different pain, different difficulties, but which may not be a holistic component. That means this is the one that affects almost all the components: cognitive, emotional, behavioral, physical, social, spiritual, and all the components will be affected. And during this grief period, what we can find out that unexpected emotions are very common among the people who are grieving. We cannot predict that what kind of emotion the person will exhibit. And the particular moment he may be very happy and he may be more rational in giving the answer for your question. And another moment he may not do the same thing. And finally, the common symptoms are they are shock and they express anger. They have most of the person, the grieving period, they are having guilty and profound sadness. These are the common symptoms we can find it in a person. This is a basic understanding about the grief. Almost, I think you all aware about these things. We will move on to the next one. And here is the statistics. As I said, grief is not only the death of loved ones. It may be anything: the loss of your house, loss of your job, divorce, loss in your there is a conflict in your relationship, whatever it may be. There are many components are involved in grief process. But when we take the severity, a person who can experience 100% of grief only when the person who lost a loved one in the family. And the percentage may come down for the divorce or loss of job, it may be 60 to 70%. We will take that the person who are grieving. Okay. We may thought that the person may come out from the problem in a day or two. No. The studies where I have gone through few studies, and here is the statistic I found that, for example, the death of children or the partner. Okay, the family members are close members or pet animals. You look at that statistics, 72%, the 72% that will be the duration we can find out. It takes nearly 12 months. They are experiencing this grief. 72% of people who lost someone in their family, someone in the pet animal, they experience. And the child and partner is on 32%, other members. The family members experiencing 32%. When, and very interesting what I found that when the people who are losing their pet animals are experiencing more grief than the family members. It may be, I think, that unconditional love they may receive from that pet animals, I think so. And one study I found that this grieving process in a particular person goes up to 30 years. 30 years, it is very shocking for me. I too had a different thought before preparing content for this presentation. I too thought that a grieving will be for there for 16 to 33, maximum 3 months. But studies are saying that the people are grieving 1 year, more than 1 year, and it is on some people they agree that 17% agree that it is an ongoing process. We cannot say that we can totally eradicate that the experience of the grief in a person. And here are some of the symptoms we can experience. We can see in a person who are experiencing grief. Okay, the 39% they admitted that they are fatigue, they experience more fatigue, and 32% of people they experience that they have change in the appetite, and nearly 12% experience that there is a pain and aches in the body, and 15% of people are said that they are experiencing stomachache, and 12% of people said that they are having heart palpitation, and 25% they said that they had headaches, and 10% people have said that they experience other kind of problem, and 5% experiences the new or worsen diseases in their life that may not be, they cannot able to predict what kind of problem they are encountering. And these were the inputs collected from the people who lost something. Immediately after that, this entry were made and they collected data and they found these statistics. And there is one more statistic which is related to that the mental state. Okay, when we are clear and we are not having any problem and we will have the clarity in our mind and our mental will be good. When there is a loss in the family or when the loss in something, we can find out 83% of people experience sadness. We all know that worrying and sadness will not make any changes, but the person who are lost something and they experience 83% admitted that they are experiencing sadness. and 42% of people experiencing depression. And during this pandemic period, I'm having the statistics that really it is on only 19%, but during the pandemic, the people who are experiencing depression is on 42%, anxiety is on 73%. The number is increasing. And 31% of people, they admitted that, they accepted that.
Sir, presentation gone.
Yeah, I'll do that, sir. Let us announce you. Someone try to share.
Yeah.
I kindly request other members, please don't try to share your screen for a moment. And 29% of people, they are experiencing anger, and 19% of people, they experience anxiety and post-traumatic stress disorder, and 5% of people, they are experiencing suicidal thoughts, and 2% of people, they experience other kind of complications. So these were the statistics about grief. And when you look at the person, when you ask that what is the nature of Rajnikant, what is the nature of a particular person, and we can say that based on the your relationship with the person, what you observe from that, we can make a comment about the traits. And for grief also, there is a different natures are there, and we have to understand that all the people may not have the same kind of grief. No, it is vary from person to person. That's why grief is an individual and unique. It is an individual and unique. And there are one question I received from that my friend circulated saying that what is the common distinction between male and female experiences? I'm going to share one of the presentation, one of the slide. In detail, we will discuss about that. Second nature of grief is there is no absolute in grief. We cannot say that there is a zero in grief. No, cannot be able to claim. That is the nature of the grief, and grief is nature, normal and natural process. You have to admit that it is a normal and natural process. And many people having that assumption that grief is not a pathological condition or personality disorder. It's not a personality disorder. Some people, they are prolonged the sadness which we found in a person, they may experience grief and they will put it in a pathological condition or personality disorder. But grief is not a, most of the symptoms we can find out, depression and other components, but these things are not linked to that. That's why the role of that person who are diagnosing, they have to keep in the mind. And next one is grief is mislabeled by many of the people who are diagnosing the person as a depression or post-traumatic stress disorder or ADHD, and which were reported in almost nearly 23% of people. They said that they mislabeled the person who come up with a grief, and they labeled as the person experiencing depression. And finally, grief can be managed with professional support. There are I still remember when I was submitting my postdoctoral research proposal. When I was preparing the proposal, I had a different thought that before we are having that almost all the therapeutic techniques, which were scientifically proven, there are many studies that carried out, and they systematically developed the theories and therapeutic techniques and strategies. And before it is coming into India, we also had almost all kind of loss and grief and everything we experienced. What is the strategy used by the people to counter those the pain, or it may be emotional distress, or whatever it may be? There may be something they may taken, and which may help the person to come out from the grief. And I was very curious to know what kind of practice they have done. And I just found that one of the interesting thing that you all know that in India we are having the different caste and community. Okay, in a particular community, I'm not going to name that. In a particular community, I can find that grief cycle, and each process that there is a support system given to the person who are experiencing grief. And I wonder that the same thing were recorded in the theory also. And I thought of why don't do a research on those things, and I was submitted, but unfortunately I'm not enrolled myself as an for a PDF. That was the topic I was submitted, but now I'm sharing that component. And sometimes grief, as I said, grief, most of the persons we can able to resolve the grief experience of an individual. Sometimes or certain situations it may lead to unresolvable grief. When we will not address the following issues. For example, if the person who is experiencing the bereavement or loss of something, they must willing to talk or think about the loss. If the person is unwilling, that may lead to unresolvable grief or complicated grief in future. And if the person is not expressing their feelings, the painful emotional experiences may also lead to unresolvable grief. And the memories, when we hold that particular memory, and that's why when you look at that, when someone they lost that, they destroy almost all the belonging of those persons. It is because to reduce the pain of the person. If they have not done so, and if they keep everything, it is reminding them, and that will leads to more grief, and they may have, it may be unresolvable grief in future. And one more thing, there are certain situations we will talk only the positive side of the person, or when we talk about the negative side of the person, that too may leads to unresolvable grief. We have to talk both. The studies are saying that sometimes when we look at that, when the person is no more, when the person lost something, we will talk about that the person's positive quality alone. And they are saying that where we are giving the space for hiding that negative components. Or sometimes when we finding fault only in the person, we are not talking about the positive. And these two comments they are receiving in that family support system may also leads to unresolvable grief in future. And fear, the person holding the fear and fearful thought, and once they lost something, and that fear will be there in the person, and same kind of situation and experiences that the person have, and that may also lead to unresolvable grief. Why we have to keep this in our mind when we it is an easy to solve the problem in the beginning. I hope you all agree with me there. But it is very difficult when it becomes a bigger problem. So we have to understand that. And now I'm going to move on to the different types of grief. Okay. Here are the classification. One is on normal grief and another one is complicated grief. I'll start from that. What are the experiences, what are the symptoms we can see, we can find in a person who are experiencing normal or uncomplicated grief. The person who are having that anxiety, normal anxiety and sadness we can find, and they will be weak in physically, they have the sleep problem, and there is a change we can find in the person's appetite. We can see the fatigue in the person's face, and they experience guilty, they experience anger, they experience numbness, and they will accept that loss. Inability to focus or concentrate for the particular activity. It may be anything. They are having the inability. They most of the time, even for normal thing, they avoid almost all the things. And we can see anger and uncontrollable irritability we can find in a person, and excessive avoidance we can see the person who are having the complicated grief, and the suicidal thoughts will be surfacing in the person, and suddenly they will withdraw from the social connections, and they may not connect with any person, and we can find out intense feeling of sadness and emptiness, empty feeling, we can hopelessness we can find when the person who are experiencing complicated grief, and denial and defensiveness. They will say that what I'm doing is right. They deny whatever the things if you say to the person, they will not accept it. And these are the basic classification of the types of grief. One is on normal grief, another one is complicated grief. We have to understand that we can able to make this normal grief into complicated. If you are not providing adequate support, appropriate message to the person, it may lead to complicated grief. And when we provide intervention strategy and systematic process, systematic coping mechanism, and we can make the person to grief into normal one. So the people who are working with grief people, we have to work to make the person to experience only normal grief. And there are a few classifications also there, the normal and complicated. What kind of thing we can find out? In normal grief itself, there are different types of it. One is an inhibited, another one is masked, another one is delayed grief. And complicated, we can see there is a prolonged grief. We can longer period of time the person may experience rather than them. And the normal people who are experiencing for a particular, for example, a normal person who may experience grief for 3 months, and complicated grief, it may more than 3 years or 30 years. And chronic grief, it may last for a year. And it is because of traumatic loss if the person who experienced, and we can find out chronic grief. And anticipatory grief, if someone in the family are affected with cancer or COVID-19, and if they're anticipated, and we may have that anticipated grief. And secondary loss is something when the grief experiences additional losses. For example, already one person is dead and another person, supporting person is no more, and there is a secondary loss. And absent grief, there are some people, they may not show any kind of symptom. They deny that, no, they are here with me. I think there is one movie, Nagul movie, we can see the people, they cannot accept that. And cumulative grief is something that accumulate means accumulate all the things. Okay. And this franchise loss, it means when the society did not recognize that the values or loss of the particular person. If you, for example, the government is Naxalites or some people are antisocial behavior, people may have this kind of grief. When their houses are destroyed and no one is supported in the time, and this kind of experiences type you can see in a person. And now I hope I given that basic inputs regarding the different types of grief, and we move on to the stages of grief. The first one is on denial, and this can't be happened to me. That is the first statement. We can hear it from the person who are experiencing grief when they lost something. And anger, why is this happening to me? Who is to blame? They find out that it is because of it. That kind of word we can predominantly we can see in the person when they were communicating with other members. Bargaining, make this not happen. And in return, what I will get it. And depression, I'm too sad to do anything. I cannot do any kind of thing. I will be disassociated with anything. They feel very low energy. And finally, by understanding that reality, and they will accept that, yes, I am at peace with that, what happened. So these are 5 stages. We can see the next picture, the role, what are the subcomponents are there. In the first stage, if you are loss of something, as I said, there are many. One is on denial. The denial is the first one. The shock will be there, and then and they will not accept that. Anger will be there, disorientation and guilty feeling. Guilty feeling when I'm not able to support the person, I'm not able to fulfill the needs of the person, and during that time the person develop guilty feeling. And bargaining, they have the doubt about themselves. And depression, and where we can the normal level to come down, the energy level comes down. Again, once the person started to accept that, they okay, everything is happened. They have to find the purpose, meaning in their life, explore the new options, and then they will find the meaning. They will reconstruct. They will develop confidence, and they will move on. This is a cycle we can roller coaster cycle of grief. And here these were the in detailed stages of grief we can find out. When we lost something, what experiences we'll experience first. Second one, shock, numbness. I think the person will not having any kind of input at all. Denial, they will not accept that. The emotional outburst will be anger, the fear, and they will searching and disorganized. We can see that they are disorganized in almost all the components. The panic will be there. They feel more guilty, loneliness, and they themselves isolate from other members. They experience depression, and they re-entry to the troubles, and new relationship they will make them, and the support system they receive from other members that gives new strength and new pattern, and they develop hope, and they will have affirmation. Yes, I can do that. I can come out from this problem. They will help other members, volunteer others, and they will adjust. They adjust the loss. These are stages of grief. And this is not only happened for the death of loved ones in the family members. And for example, here is an example for a person who lost a job, or a person who was denied to getting into that promotion. And these were the experiences the person may encounter. One is on denial, anxiety, shock. The person said that the previous day itself, he thought that he's going to become going to get the promotion very next day. And previous day, there is some political influence. The person may not get. The person will get shock and confusion, and they may go for resignation also. And then anger, fear, frustration, and depression. Undirected energy into that. And again, high stress, and they will creatively accept that, okay, this kind of things happen everywhere. Impatience, we can find out. They will develop hopeful in their career, and the minimum level of anxiety, they have that relaxation, excite, they trust other members. With that motivation, they move on. That this is in the workplace. So this cycle will be common. It may be death of loved one, or it may be the divorce, or the relationship, or it may be. It varies. The subcomponent may be vary. And now we have to discuss about what are the causes of the grief. Okay, now we discussed about what is grief, and what are the stages are there, what are the different types are there, and we discussed about what are the causes are there. And generally, these are the causes. 100%, a death of loved one in your family members. 100% that is your main cause for that. If there is a breakup in your relationship, if you are married, there is a divorce, or it may be a loving relationship with a breakup, and that will result. And miscarriage, the conceived and there is a person or something happen, and they have the grief system without the notice of the person. The other members have done abortion, and they do this thing. And when they change the location, they may be there in a particular place for 30 years. Once suddenly, when you ask them to change, they will experience grief. And the post-retirement people also experience the grief system, but the percentage is nearly 53%. But for death of loved one is on 100%. A loss of job, it is on 47%. Grief the person will experience. These are the causes. And I'm going to add a few misconceptions about grief. Generally, what we can see, if a person lost something, for example, I'm the person, if I lost something, what generally people, what kind of information they receive from others, don't worry, time will heal. No, actually, that is a misconception. Time does not heal. Actions and intervention strategy will come forward. Openness for taking up the message will help the person to come out from the problem. That is the thing that will heal the person from the grief system. And there are studies that prove that even 40 years it takes the person to become a normal. They feel better. 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, and 40 years takes the person to feel better. So hereafter, don't say that the time will heal that. No. Time will not heal. When we are taking the appropriate strategies and measures will help the person to overcome the. And another one is generally most of the time when the person is grieving, you will say them, just leave him alone. Don't do that. And the studies were saying that it is a misconception. And the grieving person during that time, they need unconditional support. They are seeking and waiting for the support from other members. And for example, the mother is lost something, we'll say that give us space to talk. So you can take a few minutes to grieve yourself. This kind of words hereafter we should not use, and that will not help the person at any way. That is a misconception. And third misconception is mostly when the people who come for that mourning, and they will say that be strong. No. The grieving person is strong, but the situation is the thing that make them to be not strong, and we have to accept that, accept as it is. And these were the comment you can receive. You have to be strong for your family members. You have to be strong for your children. So these were the statement they will say, but these things they said this will not help the person to come out from the problem. And there is another comment we can give it to the person, don't feel bad about it. Don't feel bad. Your suffering is over. When someone is in the loved one is no more, and they will say this, don't feel bad about it. If the one door is closed, another, the philosophically it will be okay. Allow the person to feel bad about that experiences what they had, what kind of the loss of the loss experience of the particular person. And some people will say that, okay, if you lost something, you can replace with that. But here, thing is not that. For example, if the pet animal is no more, you can replace it. If the relationship is broken, you can make a new relationship. But that broken relationship need to be addressed. When you are not giving that, when you repress, when you suppress those feelings, and at one point of time it will become a burst out and become an uncontrollable grief in a person. So address it immediately. And some people will say that when we are grieving, you keep yourself engaged in other activities, divert yourself. And even I to add on this, especially this misconception, I thought that when you are grieving, when you are feeling painful distress, we have to be engaged ourselves. No, you have to give space for that, and that will not help the person to come out from that. So these were the misconception and the reality things. And what are the things that will not help in grief? There are many things we used to say to the persons when they were experiencing grief. And the following things will not help the person in the grief. Okay. For example, you will be fine in a time. I know how you feel. So these things will not help the person. These are the comments when you say to the person who are grieving, and that will not help anyway to the person who are grieving. You shouldn't be feeling that wasted. That also will not help you. When you make this kind of comment, look on the brighter side. Don't feel bad. Don't be angry with God. You are a young person. You have the time. It's just a dog. It is just a cat. Just a bird. These kind of comment will not help the person to come out from the grief experiences. So when we are aware about these things and hereafter don't use this kind of what we can do, that is a question that will definitely come to us. And here are the symptoms we can find out upon grief reactions we can find in a person. What are the common reactions? Okay. Here, before getting into that, I'm going to add a few more statistics here. Three most common experience in a person is, and 41% they said that they had an intense sorrow, pain, thought about the loss. And 27% of people, they said that problems accepting the loss. They are having the problem, accept the loss, they lost. And 18% they said that the guilt or self-blame, I'm the person reason for that I was not taking any kind of action before particular incidences. Other experiences such as lack of trust in others, they will not trust other members, they isolate themselves from other members, and withdrawal from the social activities. They may enjoy particular activity, they may come out from that. Numbness and detachment, trouble carrying out normal routine, they cannot do the normal routines, bitterness about a loss, excessive avoidance of remainder of the loss. Someone come and remind that, so the excessive avoid, they will make it. Feeling the life hold and meaning or a purpose. Intense or persistent longing for the disease. So these are the things that will make them uncomfortable. Here now, look at that physical reactions when the person is grieving. So these were the experiences: pain, fatigue, low energy, sleep changes, sleep disturbances, appetite change, shortness of breath, a tight of heavy feeling in chest, feeling of tightness in throat, hollow feeling in stomach, stomach upset or pain, dry mouth, muscle tension or agitation, increased sensitivity of light, sound or smell, and other stimuli, and clumsiness. These were the things we can see the physical reactions in a person who are experiencing grief. When it comes to the emotional, and these were the common things: shock, numbness and emptiness, sadness, sorrow, loneliness, longing and yearning, anger and resentment, guilt and regret, fear, anxiety and insecurity, feeling helplessness, out of control, relief, dismissed, self-concern, desire to join the deceased person. Some they have that suicidal tendency, feeling of betrayal, disloyalty, restlessness, witlessness, irritability, emotional roller coaster. Both positive and negative emotions will come here and there. And when it comes to the cognitive or mental component, and these were the things we can find in a person, in the reactions from that person: denial, disbelief about that loss, confusion, disorientation, absent-mindedness, and forgetfulness, very common in that person. Difficulty of focusing. They cannot able to concentrate. Certain attempt of smile. Low motivation, expecting to see or hear from the deceased person. Preoccupation with the deceased person, the story, the death about the person, and they will tell about the person and again and again. Dreams or imagine of the deceased person. Thinking one sees, hears, smells about the deceased person. Memories of past losses. So these were the mental component. This is starting from the physical, emotional, mental. Then we'll move on to that social. There are three more components remaining there. Isolation from the other members, from the family or in the society, withdrawal from the social activities, diminished desire for conversation and interaction. They will not come forward to make a conversation with other members, shifting roles in the relationship, new responsibilities, hiding and holding the grief. They will not reveal the grief they are experiencing and difficulty relating to other friends and other members. And the people who are not make participate in the grieving process, they will not have the friendship, losing friends, and they won't make any kind of new friend. And behavioral reactions we can find out crying. Sometimes unexpectedly we can find out without reason they may cry, and it may be happened in 10 years before and now they will cry. And searching and carrying the mementos or the belonging things related to that last person. Okay, going to the graveyard, and they will scattering that thing they collected from that, making and keeping that avatars, the pictures, looking at photos and videos of the deceased person are the last things, listening the tapes of deceased one, avoiding situations that arouse the grief, staying busy to avoid the emotions. These were the things we can find in a person who are having the grief and the lost something, and they were grieving, and these kind of behavioral jacks we can see, assuming mannerism of the deceased. Most of the what kind of behavior they exhibited by the person who are no more, they lost, and that kind of mannerism they will exhibit. And here is a final thing, and I included it is only because of Dr. Lakshmi Rajan, and she is the one who made me to focus on that spiritual and existential component. I'd like to acknowledge her input. And when the person who lost something, so what kind of spiritual reactions we can find out? Question about the God. If someone is dead, where is the God? Why he is not saving the person? Or any kind of higher power, they will ask the question about the person. And they will question about the spiritual belief system they are having. Doubting that religion and spiritual beliefs. That's why when you look at the people, most of the people are atheists in this time, and they had a loss in their life that leads them. And questions about the deceased. Where are they now? Okay. Are they right? Can they see me? If they are no more, can they see me? Will I see them again? And these were the questions they are having in their mind. And question about the mortality and the afterlife. What will happen when I die? Will I meet that person or not? Is there a heaven or hell afterlife? This kind of questions will be asked, and they try to find answer for these questions. And the existential questions such as, what is the meaning of my life? Why I'm here, and what is the meaning? What is the purpose I have to have? Have I done, as said, been enough? What is my purpose now? These kind of questions related to existence they will ask. And sensing the deceased presence, smell, sounds, in dreams, we can then wake up in between the paranormal activity. I think you may hear that some people were doing a pujas and rituals. They thought that they can wake up the person, they may give the life to the person. When they read something, they believe it. That kind of attempt they will try. And they can experience awfulness, wonder, and misery. These were the reactions we can find out in a person, in the physical, emotional, mental, or cognitive, behavioral, social and family, and spiritual and existential. These were the reactions, any kind of loss, especially for the person who no more. And here is an, as I said, when we address the grief in the beginning stage itself, that will be a normal grief. That will be normal grief, and it is easy to manage. When we are not address that grief in that normal stage, and that lead to complicated grief. And this has an same kind of symptom, and the symptoms are vary from children to adult. What kind of symptom signs we can see if the person who are having that complicated grief? If it is in children and adolescents, chronic and severe somatic symptoms such as headaches, stomach ache, the person will say that. And profound self-blame, they blame that I'm the reason if I was there, I can able to save the person. And there are consistent problem, they will make it in that school and they may not go to the school or they may not continue that academic involvement. Nightmares, they can find sleep disturbances, high level of sleep disturbances we can find, and extreme regression, bedwetting, clinking, thumb sucking, these are the things come again. They will not maintain the self-care. They will not take a regular practices in their day-to-day life. Excessive hopelessness will be there in the post, especially adolescent. Social isolation, they withdraw from other members. Extreme anger, violence, they will rage. We can find out they withdraw, extremely withdraw from other members and friends. Sudden change in that the group members he had earlier, and the separation anxiety and phobias are very common, intense, very high level of phobia we can see, and unwilling to discuss about that the grief what they are experiencing, intense attraction, the topics related to death, and substance abuse very high among the people, and suicidal thought and plan for suicide. And these were the signs of complicated grief in children and adolescents. But when it comes to that adult, the persistent somatic complaint like what the children and adolescents, the same kind of thing we can also see in adult also. Physical problem and chronic illness it will be there. Acute anxiety and panic attack will be there. Excessive hostility and anger, inability to work, and poor self-care or inability to meet the daily needs of the self and dependence, and social isolation we can find in a person, and sleep disturbances, eating disturbances, excessive and unrealistic guilt, suicidal thoughts. These were the signs of the person who were not addressed that grief when it was normal, and that will turn into become a complicated grief. How can I identify person some a normal grief by seeing the symptoms of these two? Okay. Sometimes the grief maybe, I think when you given that appropriate interventions, appropriate strategies, we can able to tackle that grief in a person. It may resurfaces when there are many examples. These were situations, these were the triggers that will person may again grieve again. The holidays, the birthday of the particular person, that when the last thing, the dating or wedding anniversaries, and anniversaries are when they were diagnosis, when the death date or the month or week, everything will resurfaces the grief experience of the person, annual events. Okay, and the particular person smell, and when you hear the name and when they hear the smell and they have this kind of thing, and music and sound is related to that, change in seasons and weather, and these are the thing that will induce or experience that grief in an individual. So when it comes, and then we have to make sure to have an appropriate coping strategies. Okay. Now we will move on to the pattern of grief in male and female. And this was an interesting question I received from some of my friends, whether male and female having that same kind of grieving experiences. But what the research are saying that no, they are having the different approach or pattern they are having when they were grieving. Okay. What kind of name it is given to the person? If it is a male who is grieving, the name is called instrumental grieving. But when it comes to female, it is called intuitive grieving. So what are the pattern we can find out in a male member, the instrumental grieving? The thoughts are more dominant than emotions. They are giving logic rather than emotions. The feeling are tempered. And grief is more often an intellectual activity. Here they put it everything. And energy is channeled into activity. They will move forward. They prefer to discuss problem rather than the feeling. They discuss only the problem. They will not vent out the feeling. May view their adaptation to the loss as challenge instead of threat. And we can see that in the additional features of the person, male members, the confusion, disorientation, disorganized thought, difficulty concentration, difficulty in crying, often sit quietly, restlessness, rote behavior, face in insomnia, muscular tension, more willing to express anger than the feeling. So these were the instrumental grieving mostly you can see in a person, the male members. Most of the male members, they are having the instrumental grieving. When it comes to female, they are having intuitive grieving. They are giving much importance to emotion rather than that mind, thought process. And grief consists primarily of profoundly painful feeling to the person. That's why the female are having more painful. They logically they will say that, but they cannot understand the feeling. That's why many of the women, when they are fighting other members, you are not giving respect to my feelings. The person is more rational and the women are more feeling. The feelings are expressed through tears, with the crying, ranges from weeping or so to wailing. Tend to share feeling with other members. They make a call to other members. That's why they are more talk with other members. May experience feeling directly or expressly from listening to another's expression of grief. And what kind of expression? They will listen from that and they will cry for others. Empathetic, that way, when you look at it in the mental health profession, female members are more empathetic than male. That is a misconception again. I can say that I belongs to male gender. Yes, we can able to that, but what is the notion is that female can be more empathetic than male. Yes, I do agree. And what are the additional features we can find out in intuitive grieving are that they are depressed, more confusion, anxiety, loss of ability, inability, concentration, anger, irritability, fatigue, and increased arousal and anxiety. This is the basic distinction in the pattern of experiencing and understanding the grief system. And what are the things that will help the person who are grieving for the loss? How to you can talk with someone who is grieving, and these were some of the input. For example, someone has lost something. Okay, how you have to start? I can't imagine how you feel. I can't imagine how painful or devastating and heartbreaking that must have been for you. And that we can say that we have to understand that in the beginning itself, I just given inputs regarding that grief is an unique and individual, very different person to person. So we have to understand that. What are the things? The first one is I can't when you want to help the person, go and say this. I can't imagine how you feel. Say that I know how you're feeling. Don't say that. It will not help the person. I know that when I lost my mother, I felt. You can share your experiences. And these experiences sharing may help the person come out from the grieving. And I think many of the time when the person is grieving, we are not listen the person. But when you really interested to help the person, do listen with your heart, not from the logical thing, with your heart. Okay. Non-judgmental in understanding the emotions expressed without the judgment or criticism or analysis. They express accept it. Accept it. And uh, many of them they forgot to ask what happened. It's very, very important. Every person you have to ask them when they you all know that when you went out, when you release, when you cathasize, when you reassociate and you can feel more comfortable. And almost all the person when they ask, when they say these things and they feel somewhat they relaxed. Okay, the most people will avoid what happened. But when you really try to help those persons, go and ask what happened. And that will make the person feel better. Listen actively. Listen actively. I think many of them we are not listening. I think they will say that they will have important other members. Actually, follow the words from your right and what they have spoken. Listen exactly what they're trying to say. And be empathetic. That is one of the skills needed for almost all the counselors or mental health professionals. And this means what we can do that being when they are crying means you must also cry. When the tear is coming in that person, it must come from yours also. When you do so, and that will help them to come out from the grief. So these were the thing you can help the person. When you go into the loss, when you see someone lost something, when you go there and you can do that. And here is a mourning. Mourning is someone is lost, someone is dead. So these processes are there. There are 4 processes are there. Accept the reality. These inputs were given by the psychotherapist William Warden, and accept the reality of the loss. We have to create this reality to the person. The process of the pain of the grief cycle, what we can say then, the denial, forgetting, depression, and the normal. Adjust to the world without resist. We prepare the person, adapt to that, and we have to find an enduring connection with the disease and make a new life. So these were the things that any person who are learning, they have to encounter these tasks, they have to take up to come out from that. And now just I'm getting into the strategies and techniques for grief, and most of you are interested. And um, what is the specialty and the presentation what I'm making? I can say that it doesn't mean that I'm special. And there are 8 to 9 presentations that were made, and they were given that 9 different inputs. I just collected, I made a flower, a bunch of flowers. And these strategies I collected from the different sources. I'm going to know one thing, and if you have not given in, listen my previous input, and please listen here, and that will be definitely helpful for you. What are the strategies? I found that there are 17 approaches or 17 strategies, 17 techniques that will help the person to for the grief experiences. One is on prevention, self-nurturing activities, family grief strategies, rituals, and coping and support or supportive therapy, claim-centered therapy, meaning-oriented therapy, grief dynamic therapy, cognitive therapy, and cognitive behavioral therapy, interpersonal therapy, and this one is recently included, and they found it is the most effective. And this one, I would like to quote here, dedicated research were carried out. And grief counseling, and there is a professional support, we have to get it, and play therapy for children, and logotherapy, writing therapy, or otherwise called journal therapy, internet administered therapy. It is a new auditing, and many of us, we are more engaging in internet activity that we can use it. Even virtual reality can be used. I found that there is a virtual virtual rituals are happening. There is an agency is available for that also, and hypnosis and many more things are there, and these are the strategies we can adopt. First one is prevention. I think it's not clear how to prevent the complicated grief, but we can make an strategies or steps to prevent a normal grief. Immediately after getting, and the person is lost something, in getting counseling soon after the loss, that will help the person to come out from the risk, or it may not go to that complicated grief. Okay, what they can talk to other members. When you talk, that way talk therapy is a very effective one. That is a preventive, we can take it, and support. Who can give the support system? The family members, the friends, and other members in the community, they can give that. A religious community or a reading community, that will help them. And human counseling. And these are the things that will help them to prevent. Okay. The next one is there are 66 self-nurturing activities. And it is an interesting activity. You can look at here. You can suggest the person who are grieving, and some people, they are comfortable with particular self-nurturing activity. We can suggest them. We can ask them to practice it. And some people, they may not be comfortable. Don't force them. There are 66 self-nurturing activities are there. You can note it down, and you can teach them whatever they want. The self-nurturing activities. Here we can see the 30. And listen to the favorite music. And there is a study saying that when you are grieving, when you lost something, when you listen the music of sad songs, the particular raga, especially last time when I got an input from Anita ma'am and Anita Ramachandran, she said that what is the music is related for sleep, it is a Nilambari, and there is a particular raga is there for when you experience a grief, sad song, when you listen, and you can feel that you are associated with that, you feel relaxed. And next one is enjoy a long and warm bath, and go for a walk. You can hug the person, the loved one, and that will create oxytocin. Relax outside by doing the exercise. Endorphin, you will get it. Spiritual prayers, again, oxytocin will be secreted. And attend caring and support group. And when you are along with the members, when you laugh with other members, serotonin will be secreted. And practice breathing exercises that will give more energy to your brain, and that will be, you will be very clear, and you will not have that forgetting, and you are not prone to the symptoms of grieving, the complicated grief symptoms. And the stretching exercises, again, endorphin will be useful for us here. Reflect on positive qualities, positive affirmation. I am good at these things. And watch the sunset and enjoy the here and there, sunrise or sunset. Concentrate on relaxing scenes. There are certain things when you look at something, when some people, when they look at the greenery, some people look at something, they feel more comfortable and do relax by seeing the particular scene. Creating collage. The family members are the last one, you can make a collage to remember them. Receive a message and give a message, and appreciate, reflect that I appreciate the particular thing. I'm different from other members, and these are the qualities that are in me. And that you can do that. And write your thoughts and feeling in a personal journal. Write the journals. When you have that maybe negative, you can write it. When you want to express your gratitude, you can do it. journal writing or diary writing are really amazing thing. I can give one example here. But mostly the gratitude journal writing, I used to say this case study. A person who recorded that input from the nun. Nun means in Christianity religion, when they become a nun, they have to perform rigorous training. And a person, and almost 100 or 300 nuns were there in that particular training. All the members were asked to write about their experiences. Okay, when they were writing. And you can see those are complaining about the people also writing and they feel comfortable. And some people, they write only positive side. And these two people are gotten immediate gratification. But when it comes to that, after 30 years, a man who took that data from the archives and he found that whoever given that the positive lens and then they focus only on the positive thing which was happened in their lifetime, and they found that they were live. Almost all the people who write the positive side during their experiences, they were alive and they are more charming to the other members. They are more altruistic in nature. On the other hand, we can find out the particular people who were complaining that other members with a negative lens. This was a complaint. When they were going the training, they were happy because they put it the negative emotion they released. They were happy. But when the number of people who were alive are very less, and we can go for attend a favorite athletic event, you can go for that. Practice that art of forgiveness. Very, very important. When you forgive other members, and for example, I'm having that fire in my hand. If I hold it, it will hurt me only, not other. It will not hurt the fire. So when you hurt somebody else, you can release it, you can move it. When you forgive, and you are healing yourself, your inner soul. And many of us, why I have to forgive? And this kind of statement we can find out, especially youngsters. If you are holding that, right, and definitely that will not harm to anybody else, but harming you. You have to understand that when you have the better thing, you have to do that. The next one is read a specific book or magazine. When we were involved in that, we were in a different world. Enjoy the beauty of nature. When you have that, wherever possible. And for this one also, I can give one example. One case study where people who were in a chronic illness, okay, they were admitted in a hospital. They were given the provision that they can able to watch the nature. One set of patients, they can able to see the nature in a window. And another set of people, they cannot watch anything at all. Interestingly, they found that significant difference between these two patients. The people who got an opportunity to see the nature, they are having that the pain resilience are more in that person, and they were more cordial to the healthcare providers. And the time taken to treatment also comes down. On the other hand, it is a vice versa. They were the pain tolerance levels are very low, and they are not non-cooperative with care providers. And these were the things we can find in a person. So nature is very, very important thing that heals, that suits our the pain what we are having there. And that's why you can, the indoor plants, you can have it, or you can go for home gardening, that you can do that. At least once in a month, once in a week, you can go to that hill station, enjoy the nature. Don't go in the park, walk in the nature. Maybe 3 hours, 4 hours. You try once, and you can see that you are readjusting your clock. And if you are good at singing, you can do that humming, you can do practices, play musical instrument. I am attending one of the emotional freedom technique where they are saying that. There are many things you can do that. You can enjoy the dream yourself and play musical instrument. If you are not good at singing, you can do that. And spiritual meditation, Raj Yoga, there are a number of meditation. I learned something, a few meditation from different person, and work with plants, gardening. When you after reading and presenting these things, when you look at my inside room and then outside, you can find more plants are there, and learn a new skill. When we learn a new skill, we can find out there is an neurogenesis will happen that will help to have the clarity, and you can able to come out the time taken for breathing process comes down. And see a special play or movie or concert. When we are watching that imaginary things, we feel more free. We can ride a bicycle or motorcycle, make a nutritious meal, feel healthy. Healthy mind is very, very important for your healthy healthy body is important for healthy mind. Vice versa also. Draw a paint or pictures. When they are emotional things are there, you can go for drawing, you can put it everything in the paper. And then like exercise, you can go for swimming or you can walk, you can do that. And there are a few more self-nurturing activities are aerobic exercises or dance, you can do that. Visit a special place, smile and say, I love myself, self-affirmation, smile and say, I love myself. Appreciate other members also. Take time to smell the roses. Flowers, that means flower. Imagine yourself achieving your goals and dreams. Visualization, positive visualization. After that, instead of for example, if you are affected with COVID-19, instead of focusing on that, it will affect me, I may not be come out from the problem. You just focus on that, COVID will come. I'm the resistance, I will come out from that. You can focus on those things. And go riding, you can, horse riding is not possible for us. If you are in the Chennai, you can go to the horse riding. Enjoy the relax and now visit a museum or art gallery or practice yoga. And I have done recently I have done a volunteer certificate from Mind Care Center where I learned some of the basic techniques. Now I enrolled myself for another program on the teacher training program. So if you are interested, you can let me know. I will give the link for you. You can also join. From June 1st onward, the program is going to be conducted by Mind Care Center by Dr. Lakshmi Rajan. Yoga is an amazing practice. It is a way of life. We have to do that. Definitely, I can say that. When I internalized, before that, I had many opportunities to do that. I never had gotten, I get into that. But when I do that, I found that it was really enjoyable. The beginning days, I have to admit that I had the pain, the muscle cramble, and there are many pain I had on different parts, the giant pain I had. But once after doing it regularly, I feel more flexible. Now my body, I can have the more resilient body pain resilient. And relax with that one. Relax by yourself, enjoy cool and refreshing water, and you can do that swimming and participate in any kind of hobbies or relaxation exercises. Play as what you did as a children's. You can do that any kind of play you enjoyed in your childhood. You can do that stargaze or during the night time. Go and count the number of stars and window shop. You can do that. Tell yourself loving words you want to hear from others. I want these words. It's an amazing. You can say that. Go outing. Reward yourself with a special gift you can afford to anybody else. You can buy something. You can reward yourself. You come out from that. And take yourself on vacation. As I said, once in a 6 months, you can plan for vacation. At least once in a year, you have to do that. Count your blessings in a day. Okay, these were the blessings I'm having. There are other people are not. I will count that. Create with clay or pottery, that some ornament you can do that. Practice positive affirmations. You can, if you are not having any kind of problem, you can go for pet animals. Watch your favorite shows or TV shows. Reflect on your success. What you have achieved. What are the success you have made it recently? You can count that. Write a poem expressing your feeling. Writings will help you to come out from any problem. And make a bunch of flowers by yourself, and the bucket you can prepare. Watch the clouds, and you can see the different shapes of the clouds. Watch humorous videotapes. Visit a park or forest or something. Read positive or motivational literature or stories, and reflect on what you value most in your life. And you can say that I value these things are most in my life. Phone your friend, call them and then say, I miss something, whatever things you enjoyed with them. Go on a picnic in a beautiful setting, enjoy your tea, whatever the thing, mindfulness, eating, mindfulness, breathing, mindfulness, walking, you can do that. These were the activities you can take up for self-nurturing activities. Okay. Now, what is the next one? The family grief strategies. When you're with the family members, what are the strategies you can adapt during this when you lost something, especially the family members is no more? Here are some of the strategies you can use with the family members. Hold a family meeting. Okay. When the other members are volunteer, don't force them to come here. You must come, and that will create a lot of conflict. Don't do that. Because all members are willing, you can do that. Allow for open discussion of thoughts, feelings, and you can from the death, what kind of experience they had, openly they can ask them to express it. And when they went out, they also feel very relieved. And they can memorialize together. and they can go for the photo collage, they can make video, they can make, or they can say a story about the person, and they can honor the person of the deceased person, whatever achievement they made, you can do that and create something that symbolizes the family unity. You can, for example, the mission statement for your family or the family motto, you can create, okay, we family members are do something for in that area. So you can create and other members will take it and they will go for it. And all the family rituals. We have the particular practices, we can do the particular practices and consider engaging the service of family counselors. Immediately, as I said, you must have the family doctor, the family physician, like this, you must have the family counselor also, and you can communicate with them to solve that, get an input for problem solving components. And other strategies are rituals. And there are many people think that, and this is the pandemic period, many people are not having that opportunity to do that rituals. And that create a lot of conflict and a lot of problem in that person. And rituals will help them to come up from grief system. And visit the cemetery or graveyard, place of flowers, write, pray, write a journal, visit a place, the loved one, especially the person who enjoyed, and plant a tree, and you can maintain a particular area. You can develop a particular, clean the particular area in your community. You can do that. Place a special decoration for the particular person, like the grave, the last person, and donate money for the charity, for the better cause, the meaningful activities in the name of the loved one who lost in your family. Give jewelry, clothes to the needy persons. Give to other members, the loved ones, and the particular person, you, instead of holding it, you can give to the other members, and you can say that I value you as a person. And light a candle for the remembrance, you can do that, and you can flower and photo album and mementos you can decorate, and then these are the rituals you can practice, remember the person, and that will also help you to have the normal grieving experiences. And the next strategy is on coping and support. Thank you, sir. There are next strategies on coping and support. What we can do that, stick to the treatment plan. Okay, when we are coping and when you decided to support the person, they have the treatment plan already. Okay, you just follow that one. Practice stress management. During this period, they may have that anxiety and stress. Practice stress management. Self-care, many people, they may not taking care of themselves. And this is the period we have to insist on, and we have to retune the person to the self-caring activities. Reach out to that. They may have that, if they belong to a particular religion, the faith community will be there. You can go to that and you can interact with them and you can get inputs from them. Socialize yourself, and for example, if the anniversaries are then plan ahead that what you can do that, how you are going to do that, plan by yourself. These are the coping and support therapy, you can do that. And learn a new skills, as I said earlier, join for a support group. There are many altruistic group members are there, you can do, and the coping and support system. And here, some of the effective coping mechanisms which were really applied to the people who are grieving, and these were the findings we found. 49% spend more time with friends and family members. They said that they can cope that grief experiences. When the 49% said that when I spend with family members and friends, and this is the period they are not able to spend with the members. If not, you can make an alternative, make a call to the person, maybe video call or whatever maybe. And 39% they said that when they listen to music or play the music, they feel more relaxed. And 26% they said that the spiritual practices are help them to be in the normal grieving experiences. Reading other common experiences that also help the person. Reading books, increasing the time spent for exercise and stretching exercise, spend time on creative expressions or writing, traveling, attended mental health professional counseling. There are many webinars are going on. As per my knowledge, I think I can say that before 2 years, before a year, we never had an opportunity to get an input from other members. But now, in a free of cost, every one of us, we can get the inputs from almost the learned professional. Attend in-person and online support brief. There are, I wonder that there are 200 online support brief is there for grieving. When you want to grieve, when you want to express that, you can go and do that. Amazing things are there. There are many altruistic people are around. And here are the question asked: what are most helpful for the person when they does and when they doesn't sit well? For example, try to cheer me up. When the person try to cheer me up, and sometimes it will helpful them, share their experiences, gratitude, and posted about my loss on the social media. And these were things are helpful. Some people they said it is not helpful also. The person will be get better when 65% they said that the stronger appreciation for the life. When you appreciate your life is very precious. When you appreciate that, and they will come. And 51% they are more stronger when they are empathy for other members. When you feel for them and they will be comforted. And 32% they are stronger, have the faith on that particular thing. And 34% they are stronger in the relationship or good, and they are come out that 24% is stronger when they have the sense of purpose, and 14% stronger when they are financially comfortable, and 7% stronger in the career support system. And this thing will make them comfort. And here there are 8 more coping strategies a person who can adapt. Okay. In the counseling, grief counseling, these are the coping strategies after loss. What are the things? They can go for self-expression. Express your feeling, your thought to somebody else. And take care of your physical self-care. Do exercise and stretching activities, yoga, and emotional self-care activities like understand your emotions and acknowledge your emotions, and good social support, have a better family and friend and a relative circle, and emotional discharge. Wherever possible, release your emotions. You can cry, anger, you can whatever it may be, punch it, something. And seeking social support whenever needed, you can go for that. Cognitive restructuring, do that. Even CPT also insisting change your negative thought into positive one. There are systematically we can able to make that. And defense mechanism, understand and practice that right defense mechanism. Okay, and there are a few ways that will help the person to, if you want to really support a person who are grieving, what are things you can do that? Be a good listener. Be a good listener. Actively listen to them. Don't show that here and there. Ask about their feelings, what kind of feeling they are encountering. Sit along with them. Don't leave the person alone. Share your feelings. If the person is not doing so, you can share your feelings. Ask about the loss. What you lost, what was that? Make a call to the person if they are not making a call to you. Acknowledge them. Yes, I agree that I acknowledge that the problem you are really encountering is the really one. No one can face that, but you are strong enough. That way you can let them feel very sad. Yes, accept them. You have to feel sad. Be available when the person is needed. Don't say that I'm busy, I'm not available. Don't say that. And these were the counseling strategies. When you look at that, these are another input given by the another set of counselors. Talk, express the emotions, stay yourself busy, be healthy in your body, do exercise, take a rest, write a journals, watch movies, read and write, and clean your places and create a farewell rituals for the person. And cognitive behavior therapy. There is a cognitive triads are there. When you change your mind, when you change your thought, you can be able to change your emotions, you can change your behavior. So wherever you start, you can make a change. And cognitive behavior therapy is the most effective technique for the person who are experiencing loss and grieving process. And this one is an acceptance and commitment therapy, ACT. It is a lovely therapy, very recently introduced. And particularly a dedicated paper on that, which was published in the 2016 in American Counseling Association. They found that these acceptance and commitment therapies are highly useful for the person for grieving. Okay. Acceptance of negative emotions, cognitive diffusions, contact with the present moment, self as a context, and values, committed actions. So these were the stages are there in the acceptance and commitment therapy. And these therapy will help the person. I'm not going in detail. We will discuss especially a dedicated session for acceptance and commitment therapy in our webinar series. You can join with that. And then self-care. As I said, one of the important things you can find out in a person who has lost something and they have the emptiness, numbness, their hopelessness, and they may not giving importance to the self-care. So this is the time we can encourage them to focus on the self-care, stick to your daily routines, get a physical activity daily, and eat a healthy diet, restrict and avoid alcohol. These are the negative coping mechanisms. In the beginning days, the person may feel more comfortable, but later it will make them to manifold problematic experience they may have. And practice mindful meditation, mindful activity, spend quality time with friends and family members, and one more thing, bring happiness, joyfulness in our daily practice. And grief counseling with the children. What are the strategies that will help for the children? play therapy, art therapy, and narrative therapy. Share stories and ask them to play, and they cannot able to go for the strategy we suggested for older members. And these three will be more effective, which was said by American Academy of Child and Adolescent Psychiatry. They found out these were three techniques that will helpful for the children. And grief recovery, and recovering from the grief, there is a systematic process. That means we have to feeling better. When the person feeling better, and you may not give more support to the person. And recovery helps the person to find new meaning for the life without the fear and hurt again to the particular person. Recovery is being able to enjoy fond memories they had with the person, which was painful, but that now it is a good thing. Recovery helps the person to acknowledge that what they can able to make, what they cannot do, that what they react, they can able to make a change. Recovery helps the person to acquire the new skills to counter that problem they had earlier, and they can teach the youngsters, the kids, they deal with that the loss they had, and they can come out from that emotional loss. These are the recovery plan we can make it. I hope I just given almost important things for you. And the last one, this is the last slide for my presentation. What is needed during the grief? We have to give the quality time to the person. Quality time should be given to the person who are grieved. We have to allow the person to take the rest. Make sure that the grieving person should take adequate amount of rest, and be provide security to the person who are grieving, and cultivate hope in the person, and be caring and close to the person. Set a goal, set a realistic goal, and experience positive experience. Motivate them to have the positive experience. So these are the strategies we can add up. And with that, I can stop here, and I hope I fulfilled your experience in these presentations. If you have any questions, please let me know. The time may be little more. Thank you for your support throughout my session. Thank you all. And I will share that feedback and e-certificate in a few minutes. And you can comment for my presentation also. You can unmute yourself and then you can go ahead.
Greetings to you, first of all, sir. Be blessed always.
Good evening,
Sir, could you please explain more on ACT?
ACT, ma'am, acceptance and commitment therapy is a dedicated one. Accept the reality. So, as I said in my presentation itself, we are going to have a dedicated session for that. That's why I'm not giving more inputs on that. There are different stages are there. Probably we will have it in another few days, ma'am. I'll let you know.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Yes.
Sir, I am Samraj.
Sir,
Yes.
your session is very nice, sir. But family members only many problems created. That for the persons are many times alone feel. How can I treat, sir?
In my presentation, I hope in my unresolved grief. Unresolved grief, the family members may reason when they focus only on the positive side, or when they highlighting on the negative aspects of the person. One method is not working. There are other alternatives are there. I just given more than 16 strategies you can take it, and the family members are not supporting. Find out that friends and others, the community members, to reach out them. As I said, there are many social media altruistic groups are already there, and you can get input from them that will help you to come out from your grief.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yes. Right. Yes.
Sir, I am Samraj. Sir, good evening.
Yes, sir. Samraj, sir. How are you, sir?
Fine, sir. Fine, sir. Congratulations. Very nice lecture, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Sir, my question is how to overcome the nightmare, sir. Nightmare, yes, that is a major impact immediately after that.
Sir, see, nightmare is happening when we are having the REM sleep, sir. Okay. There is one input I can say that. One input I can say that the inputs of Sigmund Freud itself. When there are some traumatic or abusive experiences we had in our life, that is a come nightmare. Okay, when you bring those unpleasant and a traumatic experience into a conscious mind, you can able to resolve the problem, sir. That is the only way you can bring it to the conscious mind. You know that what is the particular nightmare may be the particular reason. Bring it to conscious mind and open up. That is the best way we can counter that. I hope you understand my answer, sir.
Yes.
Okay.
The other
So
thing
for
is,
nightmares,
sir, another thing you said, this thing is not a pathological condition, is that the grief.
okay.
But I think grief is a subset of the pathology, no? So I get a
No.
confusion in that. Yes,
No, sir,
grief leads to stress, stress leads to sympathetic nervous system activate, lead to diseases, no? So we can say that it is a part of a pathology condition.
sir, there are many perspectives and approaches are there to dealing with the loss in our lives. So one is an organic that psychiatrists they will take care of it when there is an imbalance in the neurotransmitter and when we feel low energy, that means there is an imbalance or low level of the neurotransmitter, the brain chemicals. So they will to optimize those things, they will give the medication. For example, serotonin, oxytocin, dopamine, and endorphin, and melatonin. These are the hormones. They will regulate our normal functioning. An energetic person, we can find out these secretions will be normal, above that expected level, and that we can able to naturally we can able to stimulate. Sometimes we can artificially we can take it. And here for the nightmares, it may be due to that the particular. As per my understanding, my limited knowledge, I can say that the negative experience is what they had. That is when we resolve those, we can able to come out from that. Yes. Any inputs or feedback, you are welcome. Any questions, you can just let me know. I'll try to give the answer from my books. If no questions, Dr. Sir, over to you. No. Feedback from here. I shared in the chart. Salim sir,
Sir, good
Yes.
evening.
Good evening.
Sir, this is Babu Rangarajan, a clinical
Sir.
psychologist.
Good evening, sir.
Very informative session. My sincere appreciation to you and your dedicated work, the preparation of the slides, the involvement, dedication, passion to share knowledge with everyone is commendable. Very inspired, and thank you so much for sharing your information. And continuously, you're crossing almost 400 plus webinars are going on. Amazing. Thank you so much. Today, I really take a lot of take-home messages from your presentation. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thanks so much, sir. Really happy to see you.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
I'm Priyadarshini here.
Yes, ma'am.
It was a wonderful session, very informative. Thank you so much. I've been looking for this topic from a quite recent time. So it's very glad to know about a lot of information from you. I have a small question.
Yes.
Recently, a person, 76 years old, has lost his spouse because of COVID, and he was also tested positive, and he fought 17 days in the hospital, and he's out of that now. But now he has a lot of disorientation with the timings, and he has some sort of memory. Seems like a symptoms of delirium, maybe. I'm not very sure, or it is a PTSD. We are not sure about it. So how to treat the person now? He is unable physically, he's not having any strength now. So what is the suggested this time?
Ma'am, here when you look at the grief cycle, the stages of grief, you can find out in which stage that person. I think he lost, and then we have to give a space for him to grieve. And I given that number of strategies and the self nurturing strategies, around 66 strategies. Other I will do share my presentation. We can take, and some of the things that we can suggest to the person. Many things we cannot do that. You can separate that. You can suggest those activities. One thing, and the person, you said that the two experiences are there. One is about he lost something, lost a loved one, and another one is he also having fear of the COVID-19, and when he see that someone with the COVID-19 is no more and he is also affected, and these two second last, when I was presenting my presentation, I given that the types of grief, and for specific grief, and we have to adapt and approach a modality that will help the person to overcome. I can say that the self-nurturing activity is the one thing, and second one is to come out from the fear he is having. We have to go for some strategy to sensitization. We have to make systematic sensitization. When we make it, he come out from the fear. Once he come out that, we allow them to grieve for a particular period of time. And there are many things, other rituals, coping mechanism, many strategies are there. What he can able to do that, he can allow him to do that. There are many supportive groups are there in online itself, especially for elderly population. We can allow him to enroll in that group, and he can their input, their experiences will help him to insight for the problem, and he can able to come out from that.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much for the
Yes.
informative session. Thanks a lot.
Welcome.
Sir, good evening.
Sir, good evening, sir. Jain sir.
This is Amrut Muzumdar from Raipur.
Yeah, Amrut sir, how are you?
I'm fine, sir. It's first of all, congratulations for excellent session and lot of insight and lot of takeaways while dealing with the patients with grief. I work in a psychiatric hospital. That will be more useful to me. Sir, I wanted to know if you can share the slides with us.
Yeah, when you look at my social media, almost all the content, what I prepared, I will share my presentations. In my social media page and almost all the group I'm maintaining, if you are there in the group, you will get my presentations.
Thank you very much, sir. And also would like to request to share a feedback form in WhatsApp group.
No,
so that we
we are
can do
not
it as
sharing, because the people who are not attending also, they are entering the detail. That's why I entering here. You can check that box where you can get that feedback.
Oh, thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Welcome. Yes. So I can see a lot of known names on the list. Vishal, after a long time, I can see it. And Vijay Priya, thank you for your inputs, and some of the input I received from people which you have shared with me. If there is no more questions, and then we can move on to the concluding session for today. And now I request Dr. Salim or Dr. Subhasri ma'am for the vote of thanks. Thank you.
Sir, Subhasri ma'am is there? Sorry, sir, can you hear?
Yes, sir, I can hear you. You can go ahead, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Suresh, sir. It was a very nice, wonderful, detailed session about grief management. I think almost 360-degree, you covered the entire aspects of the grief management, from the introduction, duration of most intense period, and physical pain, mental state, and coming to the kind of nature of grief, unresolved griefs, types particularly. There are 8 different types you explained very well, and not only the stages of the griefs and the causes, what is the root cause for the griefs, and particularly the misconception, like time heals, grieve alone, and all those misconceptions you very clearly mentioned. And some data also you clearly mentioned, like physical things, emotional, mental and cognitive, social aspect, and behavioral, spiritual, and lot I can say signs of complicated griefs, like children's and adult as well as, and pattern, how to, like male and female, instrumental, and all those things, initiative. So it's a very new one, male and female having the different kind of patterns actually. And very interestingly, in the morning process, you explain very well, tasks of morning. It's a different, and that's a very nice information, sir. Like there are different strategies given, like 17 almost strategies, prevention, all those things, like talking to the people, supporting all those things, and particularly about the family grief strategies, like holding a family meeting and holding a family rituals. And the in-depth of things, you have the rituals also, visiting the cemetery and planting flowers, planting a special plants, and coping strategies and coping supports. So lot information, sir. We learn a lot, and coming to the final, that CBT therapy, counseling strategies, and particularly ACT, acceptance and committed therapy. So I think all the participants very interestingly looking into that topic ACT, I think so. There are a lot of questions also there. So we believe that we will have a specially different one session for the ACT counseling strategies for the grieving management. So it's a very good eye-opening today about the grief management. So we learned a lot. I would like to thank you on behalf of the organizer team, American College Madurai, Red Pond Education and Psychological Research Center Madurai, and MS Chellamuthu Institute Rehabilitation Center Madurai, and Madras School of Social Work Chennai, and Psycho Oncological Association Turkey, and Yellow Pond Counseling Center for the technical support. And on behalf of the participant, I would like to thank you, sir. So please accept our
Thank you,
thanks.
sir. Thank you.
Well,
Thank you,
I
Salim,
believe
sir.
that all the participants give positive feedback about our session content and presentation, informations, and a lot, sir. So I cannot defend in a single word. So thank you very much, Suresh, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you all, and we'll meet tomorrow. Thank you. Thank you, sir.